welcome again to the Wide World of Wargaming Age of Sigmar podcast. As always, we are your hosts, Alex, John, Jeremy, and Garrett. Today we're going to talk a little bit about an upcoming event that Garrett's going to be running once again, and we also are going to be talking about Seraphon in particular, just giving a little bit of a spotlight, you know, what's going on with them, the shenanigans that they can pull, and what we might expect in the future since General's Handbook is just about a month away. Maybe a little bit more. Who knows? None of us know. Everything isn't real. The Matrix exists. I don't know what's going on. John, what's on your workbench?
Well, not the Matrix, that's for sure. So to start things off, you know, I've been going a little light the last few weeks. Started with the 3-shot challenge where I drank some tequila, and then I enjoyed some wine. And last week I had iced tea, and I've been getting messages from some of our listeners. They're very bothered for the disruption in the show. And so I was trying myself to be nice to Jeremy, my good friend, knowing that he doesn't have access to high quality alcohol right now. I thought I would drink some alternatives, but I figured I actually have this rare opportunity. You know, normally when I break out the Glenlivet 12 given to me by our good friend Daniel Callahan last year, Jeremy immediately breaks out the Glenlivet 14. Like always one-ups me on that. So I'm feeling pretty good myself to enjoy the Glenlivet 12. Now, I have a little excess ice because it's been a few weeks since I had a proper drink, and so my ice maker was also had a little trouble.
He got the COVID-19, the COVID-19 pounds.
That's right, the COVID-19 pounds. It gained a little bit of weight. There's a little bulging belly in my ice up at the top there, as it were. We've all done that, that's for sure. Though myself, I had some delicious spaghetti squash tonight with some peppers and zucchini from my garden, so it was awesome. Other than that, haven't been up to very much. Last time we were on, I said I was going to paint the rest of my Primaris army. Sorry, there we go, focus issues. The rest of my Primaris army, and I was all set to do that. Then one of my Kickstarters came in in the form of the Dungeons and Lasers set. Beautiful injection. Well, now the quality of the plastic is funny. You get spoiled by GW plastic, so it's nice. It's not quite GW plastic, but it's a completely modular dungeon set. Over here, I've got the Warlock's hideout going on over here. We've got the torture chamber in there. Ooh. The rack and some stuff. And so this is about half of it. I'm still building the other half of this dungeon, and there's an opportunity actually for me to purchase some more through the Kickstarter. So I was looking at it, and actually if I get 4 more sets, I can do a nice 4x6 table all in mazes, which I don't know how often I would actually get to use that, but I think once or twice ever, and it might be worth it. On the flip side, interestingly enough, the bottom of this set, the floor pieces, as it were, are either wood or stone, which happen to exactly match the bases of my Skaven army.
I know where this is going, yeah.
And so what I actually realized is that I can configure this to be my display board and movement tray, and it'll actually fit perfectly in my actual Hammerhead Games tray over here. And I'm thinking I can stack them up. I can do little rooms with like a block of 40 monks or clan rats in it, maybe a bigger piece in a separate room. I even got the little warlock area for the wizards and everything. So anyways, that's kind of where I'm at with this thing. I've been needing a Skaven display board for a long time, so this might or might not end up as my Skaven display board, but ultimately that is what I've been up to. Oh, and look at this right there. I got my Intercessor Marine in. Ordered him like last September.
Bring him down. Let's take a look.
Oh, you want to take a look at him? Yeah, let me go get that bad boy down.
For our listeners who are not on YouTube, this is the Intercessor. Is it an action figure? Is it a mobile?
Yeah, it's a fully posable action figure. Now, I am a split collector. About half the stuff I collect like this, I keep in their original packages, and half I take out and put on display. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with this guy. If I open the package, he is almost certainly going to get repainted to match my new Johnny Marine army. Otherwise, I'm going to just leave him in the package. So we'll see how it goes. I got to kind of find out how many of these were made too. I know it's a limited edition on them.
You know, I'm surprised. I thought that they were totally gray, and then you painted them yourself.
No, that's the new one that they're actually coming out with. Like they just announced, I think that they're going to come out with a gray one, but these guys were a limited edition run from last September. So you actually had to order them in advance. Then they manufactured exactly, I don't know if it was a specific number or as many as were ordered. And then they were I saw people starting to receive them about 2-3 weeks ago. And so I'm a little late in this. Actually, I saw on Facebook, it was kind of funny. Somebody actually got sent 2 of them, and then GW contacted them right after. It's like, Honorable General such and such. It turns out that we sent you an extra one of these, and while we'd like to tell you that everything is okay and you can just keep your extra collectible, we only made a limited number of these, and so we're actually going to send you a box and a FedEx label so that you can repackage this and it'll go to the person that it's actually intended to. We, hope that you will honor all this. And it was very, very much done in that way. So it was.
I hope they gave him like a Battle Force or something as payment or something.
Right. Well,
like that.
GW, I'm sure they did something cool with them, but I just thought that was kind of neat how they did all that, and plus shows that it really was limited edition. So that is once again the whole lot of random stuff that's on my workbench this week. Garrett, I'm looking down at you, my friend. Let's see that direction to me right now. We'll see where it ends up being. There's no dog with you. First of all, where's the dog?
He's sleeping right there.
How dare you? Okay, whoa, hold on. If you're gonna have the dog, you have to give us a dog cam, a puppy cam.
All right.
No. Don't wake I swear to God, you wake the dog
I'm pretty
up.
sure PETA now is gonna fucking give us a call.
Look at the dog. Look at the look the dog
I
just
will.
gave. It's like, dude, what are you doing to me?
Look at what you just did to this dog. Look at what you just did.
We know we don't actually want to see me. We just want to see the dog. So I'll shift over to the side.
Oh, nice.
Again, listeners who aren't watching the video, his dog was peacefully sleeping on his little puppy bed, and he brutally dragged the bed into the middle of the room, and now the dog
says the instigator.
What?
Looking at him, look at the look of death he's giving you now, Garrett. Oh man. Ooh, I would not turn my back on that animal.
He's doing the dog dance. They're like trying to figure out how to get back to being comfortable again, because you completely ruined the feng shui of his sleeping.
So what we need to do is we need to find someone who has access to Garrett, maybe his wife, who knows, to just like shake him in the middle of the night and then just like go back to sleep.
Dog might just do that on his own. But I think you were hitting on something there, Alex. If I can have the dungeon cam, maybe we need to get Garrett the puppy cam.
I was tempted in my early days of streaming is I want to get like a Bluetooth, like a GoPro or something, and attach it to the dog on a harness, and then just like have a camera. It's like, what is Stormy seeing today? And it's just like on a corner. It's like, this is the dog cam. You can see it at any time during my stream, whatever. You guys, I saw this one couple. They had a stream, and they had you could like donate $1. It was a Twitch bot where if you like typed a command and it donated $1, and you got to feed the dog a treat from the Twitch as a Twitch command. So watchers of their Twitch stream could send money to feed their dog, which they had a puppy cam going. And I was like, yeah, that's smart. That's what you do.
I like that.
I would spend that $1.
The problem of like putting a camera on a puppy, especially, is you're at pretty high risk of watching your dog eat his own poop on stream. So keep that in mind.
I mean,
you think that wouldn't be popular?
He's 6 or 7 months now, so he's past the eating poop stage.
Is there a niche of people who would like to see that kind of activity, John? I don't think I've been aware
of. It's a big planet.
Of
Niches can be quite large.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so my workbench actually involves the dog. So we started some new dog training stuff. this last week where we found this thing where if you train a dog, Sarah sewed a special mat for each dog, and you can. It's a new. So what you do is you get a mat, and it has to be something that's of a material that they've seen. It has to be a fresh new thing to them, and you basically start associating the mat heavily with treats. And the idea behind this is that if they associate the treat with the mat with heavy positive reinforcement, is like if you're out and about and you just bring out the mat, they just know that the mat is where I go and lay. That's where I'm comfortable and good. As you just be like the example the person gave was they were at a dog park. The dog was being very disruptive to the other people there. So he just brought out the mat and the dog just went over and laid down on the mat. It's like the person had like a bucket of KFC chicken. The dog was like, I'm on my mat. Like that's where I go. That's what I do. So that's what we started doing. We started doing some. It's a pretty aggressive training regime where you got to do some daily activities of like constant, like down to 10 seconds, do this activity, this activity. We have like a whole worksheet we're working on.
Using a shock therapy. You got one of those prods, right?
No, we do not use shock therapy. We are positive reinforcement training in this household.
Okay.
John
Was it the fucking Dark Ages?
He's just dating himself. He's like, I'm from the era where shock therapy for a dog is the appropriate training mechanism.
Yeah, right? No, we are here. Also, this is a dog that we can't fuck up because it is not our dog, technically. We're raising it for Canine Companions for Independence. So if we use shock therapy, I'm pretty sure we'd be sued.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he's adorable. I teeter behind him failing and succeeding because like we've been unable to break him of the habit of aggressively just like cuddling with you. He's like, I'm gonna jump on your lap and just like curl up and fall asleep. Like I can't stop that because he's so fucking cute.
Well, I mean, Garrett, have you
supposed
watched our podcast? Because I'm pretty sure half of these videos involve you with the dog on your lap, kind of rubbing its belly. Because I know if I was sitting on your lap with you rubbing my belly, I'd be there every week too.
We're supposed to actually train that. It's called cradle. These dogs, you're supposed to train them to be on their back on you. So you can do like nail trimmings and things. You're supposed to train them to be on their back and comfortable in that position so you can trim their nails, brush their teeth, things like that. So that's actually something I'm supposed to be training.
Interesting.
Yeah.
John was going a real weird direction with that.
What's weird about that?
You want to
Are you judging?
No.
I thought yeah, anyways. Yeah, I whenever I'm sitting with our dog, I always mess with its nails and feet too, so that when it's time to trim its nails, it's used to that. So
yeah, we did that with Stormy, and he's like, we'll mess with his feet. We'll like, we're fine trimming his fur and like, touching his feet, messing around with them. The moment you bring the clippers out, he's like, fuck no. Like for whatever reason, like we can touch his feet, no problem. Like we even got to the point where we could take the clippers and tap his feet with the clippers. But you try to clip his fingernails, he's like, fuck off. I'm done. No more. It's such a weird thing. It's like, we've done everything we can. It's like, yeah, play with it. It's just like, no, but we can't clip his fingernails. We actually, this last week, we realized we have a cone for when the Stormy had some surgery. And we actually put the cone on and just had one person constantly feeding him treats with the cone on and the other person clipping his nails. Because like Stormy's nails were absurdly large at this point. We're like, we need to trim his nails.
Yeah, the Stella's starts really hurting their toes.
Yeah, like we're like, we need to trim your nails. They're bad for you if they're not trimmed. But so we finally figured out that we could use the cone because he can't see his nails being trimmed.
Okay.
And it works 80% of the thing. So so doing some dog training stuff. Playing around with some Sylvaneth lists I want to try running. Looking at running like Tree Lord Agent Durthu plus Alariel and stuff. I want to try like a Monster Mash style thing because I realized
Monster Mash.
Yeah, well, it's because I realized it's like I was taking a unit of 3 Sword Hunters, which is 200 points. Durthu is 300, so I could just swap the Sword Hunters for Durthu and just like I got rid of the Balewind and like a command point, I think. And like that's all I needed to get rid of to like get Durthu. And so I was like, I want to try like messing around with that. But now that Fairfax County is entering into phase 2 of our COVID quarantine, I'm able to go to my friend's house and start playing games. And so coming up in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try to get some games in physically. Really excited for that. And then
Nice.
this last Saturday was my wife's birthday, her 30th birthday.
Ooh, dirty 30.
Yeah. So we stayed in. I ordered food for the first time in 3 months.
What?
Yeah, I have not ordered out in over 3 months.
Part of the reason I gained weight during quarantine was like, I want to support local business, so I'm gonna order takeout.
Yeah, we decided to up. Like, we used to order food like maybe once a week or something, and then it was just like, no, we are going to cook. And I go to the grocery store like maybe once every 2 weeks, and buy enough food. And so we ordered Thai food for my wife's birthday, which was just like weird. I finally ordered food for the first time in like 3 to 4 months. And
No, it is. Donna and I went an extended period without eating out too for the beginning of the shelter in place, and when we finally got brave enough to eat out, it was interesting.
It was weird.
It's different. Yeah, it was weird.
It was funny because we used Grubhub to order it because that's what the site. That's the person we use. They prefer you use Grubhub, and they have now an option if you wanted to do contactless delivery. I was like, oh, interesting. Didn't know that. So that was fun, but yeah. So just help doing some dog training, going out like after my tournament, just analyzing things that happened and looking at new lists. But like I'm in this state where it's like 9th edition 40K is coming out and the GHB is coming out soon. That I'm like, Warhammer is like nothing really matters right now because by the time we're able to actually like go to a tournament, the GHB will be out for Age of Sigmar. And I want to play 40K 9th edition. I have no interest in playing 8th edition. So it's like I don't.
Doldrums of Warhammer right now.
Yeah, it's like it's hard for me to figure out what I want to do. And so it's like I have no real hobby projects or anything. I'm just like waiting and reading at this point.
I think Garrett is just excited to play Nova missions for the entire edition.
I actually preferred Nova missions over ITC missions when I first jumped back into 40K. When the Orc Codex came out, my first game with the Orc Codex was at Mike Grant's house, and I played the Nova missions. Obviously, I was at Mike Grant's house, and
you were properly indoctrinated while there.
Yeah, but like I played it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I get this. And then I went to a tournament at a game store with my orcs, and I played ITC missions, and I was like, oh, yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking. Maelstrom missions were the superior mission for me.
Like Maelstrom card missions or 7th edition Maelstrom where you had the D6 rolls? Which ones did you prefer? But like,
whenever you play against somebody who's not good, you always play the cards.
Yeah, I liked that Nova missions had a cap on how many points you could score for the primary. So that, like, if you were winning really early, you then capped out your points and then you were done and you could stop. But the other person could try to like win ahead, and there was also less incentive on killing. Like my problems with the ITC missions was that you got a point every turn for killing more, so you had a major incentive for tabling your opponent and just killing as much as you can.
They better still have missions that get decided about placement at the end of the game. If not, the entire game is going to devolve. Sorry, I'm hijacking the workspace, but all the missions I've seen so far are great. There's just a fundamental problem of all of them, if they're all like this, is that the game gets decided by, yes, I'm going to sprinkle some salt here. World's Smallest Violent.
It's my job.
I'm going to salt bay the shit out of this mission packet. But basically, it's the fact that every game is going to revolve. Can I score max points in the first 3 turns, and assuming the missions are only 5 turns long, and prevent my opponent from scoring max points, and then I win the game?
Well, remember that there's supposed to be certain actions you can do to earn points, and those particular actions are not immediate. Like you don't get an
It needs to be mission where the game is decided by placement at the end of the mission, not within the first 3 turns.
Good thing we don't know. Good thing we don't know all the rules yet.
The weird thing about the new missions for me that I don't know about is like the primary objective. You get 5 points per condition, not 1 or 2 or something like that. So it's like, so you can get to 15 points around from 3 different conditions. There's not a lot of variance of like 1 to 2 points here or there, and that bothers me. So like it's probably going to be easy to get max points because you only need to satisfy 3 conditions over a couple of turns, and then you get max points.
I'm just worried they copied AoS, but they didn't take the one major component of competitive AoS, which is, at least from what I've seen, is you write mission to balance design mechanics of army builds.
Well, here's
But
a
we've
question.
only seen
Here's
like 3 missions, not all 18.
True.
That's the thing about AoS missions is there's 12 missions that each mission targets a certain army build. We've only seen like 2 for 40K.
Well, this means that Garrett has some homework in his local region, Mr. Let's just go by his initials that totally won't expose who he is. But let's say you can contact someone with the initials of MB and
Mike Brandt? Okay,
and know how much Age of Sigmar he's played before.
Are we talking about brown magic? Oh no,
I thought it was more like a ninja thing. He was going to
I don't
sneak
know.
over to his house, be like looking through the window.
I mean, like as soon as I'm able to, like as soon as Mike starts running his Monday night gamings that he did before the quarantine started, as soon as 9th edition drops, I'm probably going to go to Mike's house every Monday night. Like,
I'm gonna go.
like, why not go to Mike Brandt's house and play 40K when you live 10 minutes from
This is the ultimate like weird flex, but okay. Like,
I mean, it's okay. Our good friend Nick does that with Phil Kelly all the time, so it's just like whatever. Flex all
Yeah,
you
right?
flex
Nick.
all the way, baby.
wait, which Nick? Which
Nick Haven. Like I went to Warhammer. I think it was Warhammer Fest with Nick, and I went there for BCP, and Nick was there, and like we go up to Phil Kelly, and Nick's like flexing like hell over Phil Kelly, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So my week has been a whole bunch. I've been researching 40K and kind of like thinking about the future of AoS and doing dog training and celebrating my wife's 30. So that's been my week. Jeremy, what about you?
Well, I ripped out a first. My weekend was my house was my workbench. I ripped out the entirety of my hardwood floor on the first floor for the most part, and stripped out about like 5 pounds of nails out of it, which was fucking phenomenal. I'm installing like new hardwood floor because the previous owner installed some shit laminate, and I couldn't stand it anymore. It was just like the dogs were like destroying it just by purely walking on it because it was just garbage. It's just bad laminate, and it's fun, like, you know, when you remove things inside a house, like demolishing a wall, or you're like you never know what you're gonna get behind that. So you're like, surprise, surprise, like they did a terrible job doing this. All right, it's gonna be a little bit more work than originally planning, but thankfully I have my father who's very handsy with that stuff to help me, so I'll be good. That's been my workbench. I also have before, you know, when COVID started, I really craved like doing some modeling, so I ended up, and I've been this is, I can't really see it, but it's a box of Sisters of Battle. It's like my last box from the original set I bought, and I've been like kind of rationing myself as to model these models throughout the to keep them kind of like, because I'm like, I get the itch to like build models after a while.
I hear you, man.
Still no willpower to paint though. Like I just have no willpower to paint.
That's why you got someone else to paint your shit.
Yeah, that's true. When I can afford it, it's phenomenal. Especially like it gives like some of our, you know, friends who are very good artists and painters some extra cash, and I try to make sure they understand the value of their work, because I think like a lot of minis painters always are they undersell themselves, or they undercharge basically.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the day I looked at the hourly rate of commission painting, that's when I was like, oh, all those price points are 100% justified. Like when you actually think about selling yourself as a business for a commission painter, it's like, no, like any rate you see online for commission painting, they're justified when you want to be paid a good hourly rate, because it takes a long time to paint a model.
And I want to point out, I'm not taking a jab at like services that sell like incredibly cheap like commission painting, especially like companies or people that sell like tabletop quality. But I'm always like, I always kind of bat an eye at the price, because I'm just like, man, how does anybody like make a decent living with this, unless they live in like, you know, a shack in the middle of like nowhere America, where they can basically,
or like Idaho or something.
Like the cost of living is like nil.
Or they paint really, really fast, because if it's the rate that I paint at, nobody could afford to live on that, you know.
Right? Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Here's your one guardsman. He's $75.
Yeah. Like even the Go Trek that Izzy painted for me, and like, you know, obviously like I let's just say the amount he charged me, when you do the math for the quality of work, it's just like, I feel like I got a steal out of it.
My favorite part is when Israel, well, you got a steal out of it, but then he's also just like, you know, he hits all of us up and he's just like, well, Jeremy got this. Why don't you guys just buy a whole army painted by me?
Because we
I
don't.
Because I didn't win the fucking lotto. Like,
Yeah, like we don't. Israel, no.
I went with that with him early on too. When we were first teammates, I would like buy a model, and this happened multiple times when I was building my Skaven army. Is I'd buy a Skaven model and be like, oh, and he'd actually personally message me, oh, you know, John, I've always wanted to paint that model. I'm like, oh yeah, you're welcome to paint it for you. Oh, that's going to be this price. I go, no.
I thought you wanted.
You
to paint
hit
it.
me up saying you wanted to paint the model. Like
that's good. That's good. You know, that is the perfect the perfect Israel and the perfect John response to both.
I mean, I would have been with John there. It's like, wait a minute, you're hitting me up saying you want this, and then you ask for like, no, like I'll do it myself. If you want to paint it, you're welcome to, but like not for money. Like I'll maybe pay you like $20, but not normal prices.
That said, I am anxiously waiting for my commission from Izzy, which he has started feeding me pictures of. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, he is the most gregarious cold caller I've ever seen. Like he's a cold call salesman with a gregarious heart.
So you bought these models. I think you need them painted, so I'm gonna paint them.
I mean, in Izzy's defense, like he's an amazing painter. So
Yes.
like he deserves to charge what he did.
Actually, the other painter that's painting my Imperial Fist is Carl Pan, and he's doing a phenomenal job.
Carl
And,
does
actually, I
great
should
work.
post some photos in the Zoom background so you guys can see it. But you know,
Carl Payne is an
I'll
amazing
do that
artist.
later during the episode. I'll just like flash them up and we'll call it even.
Nice.
But really, what I'm looking for, like 9th edition, as I told you guys and everybody here who knows me, listening, I'm looking forward to playing some Harlequins and having them not suck. But the odds are I'm going to be disappointed in that. So my backup plan is Imperial Fist.
Nice.
And then after that, I'm still like waiting on these bloody elves to come out. They've been announced.
The Lumineth? Yeah.
Yeah, the Lumineth. Like, holy God! Like,
Oh wait, they're not out yet, are they?
no.
No,
Oh my gosh!
I saw a thread on this online, and basically someone's like, "Where the hell are the Lumineth?" And everyone's like, "Well, like releasing new rules for like 40K, it's easy because you just have to release new rules. You don't need to have someone produce models." But COVID kind of shut down the production of models, so we're gonna have to wait a while for like any new models. So, like,
I mean,
that's kind of where Lumineth and Iron and the Giants are. It's like, we kind of need to wait until they can actually produce shit.
It just pinpoints to me that, like, you know, they start the marketing hype train really, really before they actually have inventory solved for a new army. So what ended up happening is you already got the books. It's probably already printed at this point. They're marketing, so all you got left is the models for inventory. To me, it just tells me like the company just like they have an aggressive hype train, like marketing project for things, but they don't actually have an inventory for, or you know, ready until like that. Because I can't.
They may have changed their business model, because we know that in years past they were a heavy warehousing and inventory company.
Yeah.
And we saw where in different editions, sprues would get pulled out of a box and actually reboxed going forward, and this would happen multiple times. Whereas now with modern manufacturing and manufacturing in both the United States and Britain, it's very possible that they've gone to a more just-in-time model to where they're actually, if their speed to market, speed to delivery is such that they can actually wait for orders to be in the queue before hitting production, that would be an amazing place to be as a model manufacturer. And when you consider that they've gone to steel dies as opposed to the rubber dies, the concept that you could have quick change tooling in your injection molding machines, which is pretty common nowadays, right? I think it's pretty, all kind of makes sense. Now, on the flip side, damn it, I want my damn elves with bullhorns already, because those were freaking cool, man.
I want to eat some Elven Rocky Mountain, Rocky Mountain oysters is basically.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ.
It's going to be interesting, like, if the GHB launches after, like, so they would probably expect the GHB and Summer FAQ to have launched after Lumineth releases, so that they can maybe use the Summer FAQ to fix Lumineth like they did Skaven. But now it might not happen. Okay, well, attempt to fix Skaven. Like, they actually had point adjustments for Skaven in the Summer FAQ. Regardless. But, like, they may have wanted to use the Summer FAQ as a way to balance the Lumineth. But now they can't, because Lumineth is probably going to be released at the same time, if not after, the GHB and Summer FAQ, assuming they still did the GHB or something. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and honestly, like, because of 40K, like, let's just be honest. I think they're pushing the 40K one. Like, we just described, like, their marketing strategy, maybe what their production strategy is. So why isn't it the case for a 9th edition 40K? Well, most likely it's because they're probably in the same scenario with 9th edition, but they're like, we're probably going to be able to make more money out of 9th edition release right now.
They also like to release.
The app is going to score money right now. Can you guys? I'm assuming the app is going to be like the Age of Sigmar app, where we can buy my battle tomes or codexes, I guess, through the app. So I mean,
already said that is true.
Yeah, they have said so. So I mean, as soon as that app drops, I'm in for let's assume $20 per battle tome. So let's see, that is what, 5 Space Marine books, and the overall Space Marine book, and my Dark Angels book, and my Tau book, and my Eldar book.
And my Hello Kitty Marines.
Huh?
No, sorry.
So that's what, 9? They're going to get me for 9. Oh, and my Knights, so 10. So they're going to get me for 10 books as soon as this app drops.
I mean,
$100, bam.
I mean, honestly, with 9th edition, they like to release editions over the summer. Let's look at it. 2.0 Age of Sigmar, released over the summer. GHB, released over the first General's Handbook, released over the summer. 8th edition 40K, released over the summer. They weren't going to miss this summer deadline for 9th edition. They weren't going to. So, like, that's why we're getting a lot of 9th edition.
We're just lamenting the unfortunate, like, delay in Lumineth. Now it seems like Lumineth has died in the altar of timing for 40K. Like, it's basically going to have to take a backseat until the 40K stuff dies down for Games Workshop to say, okay, now release Lumineth. They don't tend to do cross-pollination of releases that often. So, in cross both systems.
We did miss the entire month of May and April for releases. There was nothing in April or May. Like, after March, everything shut down.
Yeah. So in years past, that would have been normal for GW to go 2, 3, 4 months. We've gotten used to these monthly releases, and as we've seen, it's actually kind of a seasonal thing. In fact, I've almost would say that the year is broken up into 4 to 6 sections where we see some Age of Sigmar, some 40K, some Age of Sigmar, some 40K. Yeah. And so if we're looking at a big 40K hump, I'm not expecting a lot of AoS until the backside of that.
Let's just be honest. We're also addicted to the goddamn cadence they had last year for AoS.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, I remember early on.
Give it to me.
Early on, being a GW fan was like having 2 or 3 Christmases a year. You get this big build-up, and 2 or 3 times a year you get a release of models or a battle tome or whatever. And you're like, oh man, it's awesome! It's like Christmas. And then now the new GW is like every month, like you said, Jeremy. We're now used to this pace. It's just coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming all the time.
Yikes!
And then boom, 2 months of nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not even a cigarette. Jesus Christ.
We didn't even get any updates on, like, I think we got like 3 Lumineth articles over 2 months. Like, we're used to weekly articles.
We still don't know shit about that army.
We know that they have a mountain faction and they strike first. Or no, they strike twice in a row. That's all we know.
And no. We know what Tyrion. We know what Tyrion can do.
I know more about 40K 9th edition than I know about Lumineth.
That is real. That's real.
We have speculation of what Teclis can do because of a White Dwarf battle report where they made assumptions that the army was already out. when they announced that battle report. Like, we
That's
barely know
right.
shit about this army.
We should rename my workbank section to just be shit that grinds Jeremy's gears section. Anyway, you know,
That could
Alex,
be a whole new section, actually.
that's right. What really grinds my gears? I should just rock my Dwarden beard and a Fire Slayer hair that I don't have.
I could see us kind of reformatting how we do things, you know. Maybe we'll have a dedicated kind of whiskey section that I'll start off with. We can have, grind the gears with Jeremy. We can have dog training corner with Garrett over there. And
Alex glaring at
bitch
everyone.
face for Alex. I don't know.
Alex glaring at us
He's
constantly.
the only adult in this Zoom call.
Yes.
No. Yeah, I'd be the salt miner.
But what's on your workbench, Alex?
What is on my workbench? Well, besides waiting to get a game in your dungeon, and which you have a lot.
This weekend, but
Gonna have to be this weekend. I'm actually looking right now because I had a claw, but I also, because I started drinking again. I had a claw, but then I have some.
it stopped.
Yeah, he did stop. Remember, last week he didn't drink because of
behind the glass, Alex.
Behind the glass. So fuck this.
Put your hand behind the glass.
I have some Woodford Reserve that I've been drinking, but because it's iced and I have this new desk, I use coasters, and it's bummed me out because it makes me long for events, because one of my coasters is fuck this.
Put it in front of your body. There you go.
The Adepticon 10th anniversary, 15th anniversary coaster, and then the second one is actually from the Helm's Deep Tavern.
Yeah. Nice.
In the Game Wizard Blue Sky Hobbies location in I already forgot the name of the town. It's definitely not Bellevue.
No, it's not Bellevue.
Okay.
No, it's it's the Marine. It's the Navy base that fixes submarines in the Puget Sound. I forgot the name of the town.
Bremerton, Washington. Yeah. So it makes me long for events. So hopefully we can start getting something going on soon. My workbench is actually completely light. I am, this is not a 40K podcast, but obviously organizing Bone Reaper bits and organizing Necron bits here and there. Playing a bunch of Battlefleet Gothic 2 Armada. Well, not a lot, but a little, just because I beat a Total War campaign and I don't want to spend 1 billion hours on that again. For now. I will again, but for now.
Wait, so you did beat one campaign in Total War.
I did the big campaign for that. Actually, really funny how that ended up. Reichland in almost every total. I don't know how the new update works with how maybe because orcs are better, the Kazakh dwarves maybe don't go as insane as they do at every other playthrough I've noticed. But in my vampire count playthrough, I went hard on the dwarves. And then also just knowing that once the chaos comes about, all the human empire groups would confederate with each other and just become way too powerful. I started destroying all the human groups that weren't Bretonnia and Empire. And then I went after the dwarves way harder than I should. And because of that, it became an internal war between Bretonnia and Reichland. And Reichland won, totally destroyed every Bretonnian faction. But at that point, I had already scattered all the dwarves to the fucking wind, and Kazakh dwarves ended up still existing, but they took out Camry and then got taken out by Clan Moors, and so the entire southern portion of my map was one little territory of Kazakh dwarves, and then everything else was Clan Moors, and it literally became my vampire counts, which I was able to confederate all the unique characters. So I confederated Musalon for the Red Duke. I confederated Henrik. I confederated what's his name, Manfred, with the other kind of the necromancer meant for the game, and then I was able to go in and slowly destroy all of Reichland. And I actually Lothian elves became my fucking vassal for a
that's
good
cool.
time. Yeah, I was like, I took a screenshot so I could show you guys. I haven't showed you guys, but when it happened like weeks ago, I was like, fuck, I need to screenshot this. Like what? Like they already have a massive like aversion scale against like ever doing anything with undead. So I was like, holy shit, how did this happen? So Lothian was my
diplomacy master.
Yeah, apparently. So I ended up getting elves to like attack Reikland with me too, and so we did real well. And then once Reikland was destroyed, they like paid me a bunch to like get their independence, and then like 2 turns later, they declared war on me. I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers! Well, I need to earn it. I need to like hold a certain number of like key locations in order to win this game. I guess they're all going to be elven ones now. And so like the rest of the game became me like keeping like holding my line against Clan Moors and also like fucking with them when I can, and then also just absolutely obliterating the Lothian, whatever that capital was, that little Atlantis area. You know, I don't know what
the whole island.
That most of the island did I end up controlling in the end.
Nice.
Jeez.
So I was like, "Fuck you
Like
guys."
7 different factions.
Yeah, but once you get
at
into
that
it,
point,
it's a ring, so it's you can
okay.
work your way through. You know.
Yeah, once and by that point, it wasn't several different factions. It was,
Okay.
you know, that late into the game, like
Yeah. Okay.
there were maybe 18 factions left out of like 40 something. So yeah, it was a lot simpler. But yeah, on my workbench, really not that much, just cleaning and getting things ready and trying to get the life in order, and hopefully wanting to play some Age of Sigmar. I gotta open up my box because apparently Jeremy and I are gonna be playing hopefully this weekend. Maybe not. I don't know. But it'll be it'll be good to play some OBR. Or I actually gotta get my Night Haunt from Bronson. He has my Night Haunt still. I really want to test that out, and I'm really curious to see what the General's Handbook does, but we also need events. And that does, of course, bring us to something that I wanted to talk about. However, all we see right now is Garrett's adorable, terribly abused dog.
Terribly abused 6-month-old puppy. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, that's what I want to be known for. My terribly abused 6-month-old puppy that I'm raising for a organization.
I kid. For all of our listeners out there, he's definitely.
I mean, he kids, but you guys saw the abuse earlier, so.
Yeah, you guys witnessed it. With your own eyes. He woke up from his nap. How dare he? You know, I know that you have an event going on, and it's the COVID Round 3 event in Best Coast Pairings. I looked at it, and I thought, Garrett, that something would be learned from last time when we gave you a butt ton of shit about.
I was promised
no,
event package from John.
No, hold on. Jimmy always says like when I'm recording, she can hear me everywhere in the house. So that was just further that. I go into my description, and there's nothing. There's
I created
nothing.
I created this event live on the last podcast and then ignored it.
So you had a whole week to put a description in there, and
I
chose
didn't.
not to. And when does this
I
event
was
start?
promised that John would over the weekend create me this beautiful packet. But he hinted that he might do such a thing.
Okay, so
I might have said something like that.
So Garrett, what you can do is sometimes you can highlight text, and then you can press Control, and then you can press the C. The letter C on your keyboard.
He's an iOS user. He doesn't know what the control key is.
Okay, so you can put that little you can
push the fruity button.
Key.
Push the fruity button.
Let me open my Mac.
Put the button there. Okay, so I know you might be allergic to apples, but you want to look at that thing that looks like an apple.
Allergic to apple.
The only thing he's not allergic to.
Married to apple. No, I like whatever. Like, if you want a description.
So
wait. So no. Let's sort this out. Right now. So is this 5 rounds or 3 rounds?
3.
3 rounds. Okay. So what mission should we run for round 1?
I don't know. I'll probably randomly roll it.
No, fuck off.
Yeah,
we're deciding right now since
From the
I'm
bottom
writing
of my
the
heart,
packet.
fuck off.
Okay, so
every other tournament, actually the last tournament, round 1 started on Monday. Monday rolled around, and my opponents were like, what mission are we playing? And I was like, oh shit, let me roll it right now. So I actually have randomly rolled every mission I have played, and I just ignore relocation order. It's the only rule I have.
Okay, so round 1 is going to be Battle for the Pass 2019.
Nah. Okay, let's roll this shit.
Wait, no. Why the hell are you only?
You don't roll. You never roll missions in Age of Sigmar. That's like the worst TOs. Literally, like we have show after show where we literally discuss how bad it is when a TO rolls the missions for the tournament. I mean,
I gotta say. Also, I agree with John completely. On top of that, you just said that the one that you skip is relocation orb, knowing full well that in 2019 General's Handbook, a relocation orb is no longer a nightmare, and yet
on TTS, it's still a nightmare because you have to move your objectives. Tier 1 objective or Tier 1 mission 1 is one of the single worst games you could ever play. Missions that you can ever play in Age of Sigmar. That and Knife to the Heart should always be skipped.
I just love this right now.
Well, now, what's the one where we got a deployment in each corner? What's the one with the deployment in each corner? The 4 deployment zones.
Oh, Duality of Death.
Duality of Death. So do we get a Duality of Death for round 2?
What are you? Okay, let's see here. So I got. Okay, let's
Duality of. You're not gonna roll it. Fuck off. Okay, I don't know what you.
Table 1, mission 2.
No, it doesn't work this way.
Escalation is round 1.
No,
you hear that?
Number 1 is Battle for the Pass. Number 2 is Duality of Death.
You know how fucking often we play Battle for the Pass and Duality of Death? People like Jeremy, back me up on this. Literally every goddamn tournament has Battle for the Pass.
Why does he have to back you up? You can't ask me.
Like Jeremy,
give me some input. I asked.
Not about you, Alex. Don't worry about it.
Okay, Jeremy, what missions would you run for this random ass tournament I'm running?
Honestly, I probably would run something out of a packet because I want to find out if there's a mission that like basically Seraphons are a little OP. Like you want to do one that's unused and one that's like more common because like really what ended up happening is your event's going to be basically a test bed for Seraphon armies.
I already have the answer for you.
That's really what it is.
Yo, do it in any order you want. But 3 places of power, Duality of Death, Scorched Earth. Boom.
Scorched Earth.
Guys, like,
with all the teleporting and Seraphon, that sounds unpleasant.
No, most Seraphon armies are probably not the Starborn one. They're probably
they're mostly not Starborn. They're mostly
coalesced. But it's not about like designing a mission packet of destroy Seraphons. It's about designing a mission packet in which Seraphons, or not Seraphons specifically, but like, hey, let's do something out of the box here because this is already going to be an out of the box event. And it's not going to be a true representation of what the meta is. It's just going to be the representation of most likely good players with Seraphon armies.
Okay. So Alex, you had actually good. So Duality of Death, I think Alex and I agree on. What was the other one you recommended, Alex?
Shifting objectives.
Shifting objectives.
It's 3 objectives in the middle. For some armies, especially slow armies, they can't really handle that. And it's you think that they're in the old General's Handbook. It was almost always like who could kill more because when the objectives were way closer to each other on the shorter end of the board and not the long end of the board, then you could just have a way easier time holding any of the 3 objectives at any time. Now they're all spread up a lot farther in the current General's Handbook. So that one is really important because sometimes the dice, you have to be able to control all 3, and if you can't, if the dice roll is bad for what the primary one is, you'll get fucked. Like I got fucked like 2 tournaments in a row last season because of that.
Jeremy, what do you think of shifting objectives?
I love shifting objectives.
You love it? Okay. So would you run it in this tournament?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got 2 for shifting objectives. John, you are.
I'll accept it. I'm looking at round 1 shifting objectives, round 2 Duality of Death, and let's bring it home.
Really like Duality of Death, don't you?
I love it. It's my favorite mission in the whole game. I love that mission.
I like shifting objective in the meta because it just forces armies to just clever each other down the middle. And
it's because you play Fire Slayers.
Yeah. Why? And, course.
I still think you should do Scorched Earth as the third one because having a
But it
bunch of
forces shooting armies to like fight in the middle of the table. Like,
yeah.
they can't just sit back and like try to like pick around corners and like it's one of the worst missions for like carried on overlords. You're like, shit, there's only 3 objectives and they're all in the center. Like, this sucks. Like, it's I don't know. I like shifting objectives. It's a good kind of like counter to like shooting armies basically.
What about focal points? I see focal points come up a lot.
No.
Focal points.
No.
What's the deployment look like on that one?
Diamond.
So there's 5
objectives.
objectives, 1 in the center, and then the 4 corners. So it's a diamond with 1 in the center. And then 2019 is Dawn of War.
Oh, is it Dawn of War or is there that weird diagonal?
2019 is Dawn of War. 2018 is a diagonal.
Okay. Well, Dawn of War is an easy deployment, so that has potential. Any other ideas? Some Star Strike, maybe?
Hold on.
Peanut gallery.
Yo, gotta say, I'm gonna interject and not talk about a mission because you guys already know it's Scorched Earth. Why the hell have you hidden lists? Why the fuck have you hidden lists?
Because the tournament hasn't happened yet, and I want people to upload their lists whenever they want before the tournament starts. List submission deadline is literally the start of the
It's
tournament.
consistently the same people who have been signing up for your event. People we know, like Frank or Frank De La Roche or Michael Burke or Michael Vaganos or Bill.
I'll say Bill Souza has brought radically different lists to both events. Like, people may want to switch their shit up. As a
I'm cool
courtesy
with
to
that.
people, since
That's
it's a
fine.
very casual experience, I didn't want people to be able to list tailor and let other people upload their lists ahead of time because they know what they're playing, and don't let people like Greg to list tailor against Bill, who decided to upload his list ahead of time.
Are you trying to accuse Greg of?
Greg would 100%
Tailoring.
list tailor against Bill. Just Bill. No one else. Just Bill. If Bill uploaded his list ahead of time, Greg would list tailor.
Yeah, but
Just
you could just literally make it like a grudge match situation. You're like, okay,
Well, Greg's
you
not.
gave him
Now,
tailoring his list against you.
we want some
Well, they
secondaries.
want to play in round 3, obviously.
Yes. Fuck Garrett. He needs secondaries.
Secondaries? Yes.
No. It's a TTS tournament. There's no, having secondaries just adds another layer to a very, TTS tournaments are...
John, in the packet, don't put secondaries down. No secondaries.
How about a Realmscape?
I do add realms to every mission, but the Realmscape feature is always 1. So
I'm
there's
sorry.
No realms.
Okay, so no no effects, but the tournaments are going to be held in a realm. I'm going to go realm,
Yes.
one realm for the whole day.
No,
What realm do we want
one
to
realm
hold it
per
in?
round. Every round has a different realm.
No, one realm for the whole day.
But that's
No,
really
different
uncommon.
realm every round.
That's really uncommon because most tournaments we've seen that Jeremy and I have interacted with, usually the realmscape is unique, but the realm spells aren't allowed. So you're allowing the realm spells.
Yeah,
without
that's not-
realmscape?
As an East Coast player, that's not true.
It's an East Coast thing.
Most of my players are East Coast players, and we play with full realm rules. And I just go Realmscape feature is
East Coast in the
Huh?
TTS tournaments. Like about 50% of them are not East Coast.
really.
So,
Yeah.
you do realize that Michigan isn't the East Coast, right?
Who's in Michigan now?
Well, the last one you had like Michael Birch, you had the guy from Malaysia in there,
Yeah.
and then you had Greg, who's not in the East Coast. He's like in Colorado.
That's Frank. Frank is California.
California. Like, you just think you have
Living in your East Coast world, man. I tell you.
it's
It's okay.
okay. It's
my
We don't want
events
to turn
have
off our
slowly
East Coast
been-
listeners here.
It's
They have slowly been less and less East Coast over time. I will say that. But
it's okay, Garrett.
It's okay. We promote a national unified meta, Garrett.
We're just having
international unified meta. Because I got my Malaysian.
I guess you're right. That's to be fair. Back when I was into gaming, I had one guy in Europe, and I called us an international gaming guild. So
Exactly.
All it requires. Well, I got to say, Greg's not in here, and his main army has been Seraphon. And prior to our conversation,
Skaven's masquerading as Seraphon. But
exactly. So here's the thing: we got the whole InfoWars thing going on with Jeremy about how it's just a Skaven list, but with a little bit more frills, a little bit more scales. So # Lizard Truth. But what is going on with Seraphon? Because I need to know what's going on, because I have not played new Seraphon yet. I have not played against them. We had a whole episode, which our listeners, if you guys want to, or if our viewers want to see, we went through a whole rundown of the Seraphon Battle Tome. However, I've never played them, but I like to think that I'm a competent player. And I've seen the rules, and we've talked about the rules, about everything related to Seraphon. I know the Battle Tome relatively well, but I need someone to explain to me what the secret sauce is, because I see really good Tzeentch lists. I see the lists that Jeremy and I run, and I see other people's lists that they have success with in other factions, but I'm not understanding. I haven't sat down, obviously, and watched a game with Seraphon, and I haven't sat down to watch a TTS game because I don't have 12 hours to kill like that.
it's only when I play.
Maybe.
But I will say that in my tournaments, TTS games usually last about 3-ish hours, 3 to maybe 4.
Okay.
Not much more than that.
Someone's got to explain to me what's going on with Seraphon. Why are they so terrifying to everyone?
how do magnets work?
Yeah, magnets. How do they work?
I actually, speaking random topic, I saw a random interview where a person asked a scientist, "How do magnets work?" And yeah, that was a fun interview. It was like, "How do magnets work?" And he's like, "No, because." Do you want the real answer? Because the other answer is because, and it was fun. Moving on.
Yeah. So conclusion: Lizardmen's work because.
Yeah, literally. That was like,
did I do it right? Is that the hand motion?
because.
And so that's the same answer for Seraphon. They just work because.
Because. Yeah.
I mean, can I shape it like their cigarette? Like what? No, I mean, so we make that joke, but I literally was I was sending Greg a message like, did you just build the Seraphon list? It's like carbon copy of your Skaven list, and he's like, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So lay it on me. I know how his Skaven worked. I played it at SoCal. It was a lot of shooting all at once that hit you in the dick, and it was a lot of teleporting. Well, it was teleporting because of the bridge only, but it was still teleporting. That's how his current Seraphon works, because there's no bridge.
It's a little bit less it's less reliant on teleportation because he's playing the Thunder Lizards and with the run and shoot mechanic for the Sun Prisms.
It focuses on reliability. I think that's the core word that goes.
Which is not something Skavens have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the big difference, right? It's cool to see shooting armies come back, but Seraphons are not just shooting armies. And I say cool to see because it's just nice to have a variation in the meta. It will give armies like Deepkin a moment to shine more in the meta because they're kind of they shit on shooting armies. They can, basically. But you also have let's just cherry pick some mechanics, right? I think Garrett wants to talk about Salamanders, which is another shooting mechanic. I want to talk about Chameleon Skinks, which is another shooting mechanic.
I haven't actually seen Chameleon Skinks at all. I've just seen normal Skinks with Star Priests.
Yeah, they're still pretty good.
They mentioned before that a big unit of Skinks could suddenly do a butt ton of damage.
A butt ton of damage.
Yeah, because of the Skinks. All the Skinks are basically stacking buff mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Break it down. Talk to me like I'm 7. I'm basically 7, but talk to me like.
I was gonna say more than usual. Jesus. Okay. Let me.
I was joking, but okay. If you're gonna hit me in the heart like that.
So okay. So from my experience,
Gaga.
basically. So when I've played in Seraphon, what basically happens is you take 40 skinks and you give them blowpipes. So they're shooting attack at 16-inch range.
Yeah.
And they're at 2 attacks apiece because they're over 15 models. They're 5s and 5s hit and wound. But then you throw a skink star priest on them, so 6s to wound cause mortal wounds. And then you give them +1 to hit and reroll 1s to hit with skink. Figure who gets the +1 to hit in shooting.
Yes, +1 to hit.
Yeah, +1 to hit, and then the
Is that
reroll
just
1s
having
to
the
hit.
priest nearby? Yeah.
Something like that. And then there's the reroll 1s to hit from a spell, Hand of Glory. So they're basically 4s and 5s, rerolling 1s to hit, and then all 6s to wound or mortal wounds. So 81 shots with 4s rerolling 1s, and then 6s to hit wound or mortal wounds. So you just be like, yeah, I'm just going to throw like 12 mortal wounds on you.
That's not 12 mortal wounds, though. It's
So
not. Do the math.
So
you got 40 hits with reroll 1s. You get
and
like 1/6. You got like what 40, like maybe 50, 45 hits or something.
You'd
like
like to
that.
call a lifeline and get Mr. Logan Mulroney on to do the math for you.
Ooh, Mr.
Okay.
PhD himself.
You get a handful of mortal wounds that is more than expected.
Around
With like
6-ish mortal
like
wounds.
I think it's like 300-ish, maybe 300-ish points of uneven. It's like 240 points of skinks.
Yeah.
Are doing more mortal wounds than you would expect from a shooting attack. And then they also get it in melee. So if you charge them, which by the way, if you're playing certain sub-factions, they'll have a command point where they can shoot you and run away in melee.
Yeah, the Sortex Talon or something. Or whatever.
Yeah, like the Flames of Sortek or something like that. So it's like they're doing a lot of mortal wounds from just skinks. And they're also an 8-inch move with a 16-inch range. So it's not like they're not going to be in range. Like they can go anywhere.
The secret sauce here that gives them all these abilities, it's a handful of characters, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 1 to 2 characters.
Also very cheap and very easy to spam.
Yeah, their characters are like 80 to 90 points.
Yeah.
Not hard to find. And then you add Lord Croak,
Pretty hard
which
to
is Lord Croak just generates all the command points you'll ever need to use any command abilities on.
Yeah.
So you're never like Skaven are just reliable. Like, oh, I need all these command points to use all these amazing command abilities. Well, Lord Croak generates all the command points. And
Isn't there a way also to make a like?
You said Skaven are reliable.
He meant Seraphon. We know what he meant.
Seraphon. Yeah, Seraphon are reliable.
No, I know. The Freudian slip was fun.
This is the same army at this point. Because like I think you can make a start breach like -3 to hit and shooting or something. So
Yeah, like exactly. And then on top of that, you have so it's like you have an Astrolith, a bearer for +1 to casting, Lord Croak having a +1 to casting, and then a spell to have +1 to casting. So you have a bunch of bonuses to casting and make sure you always get your spells off. You have all of these heroes that provide a bunch of abilities that are really easy to get off. Like the Star Priest Mortal Wound ability is automatic. You just need to be wholly within 12 inches of hero phase, and then 60 wound immortals in both melee and shooting. So they just have a bunch of like easy, reliable mechanics that just aren't hard to get off, and they're just like they're cheap and good. Like skinks are 60 points for 10, so 240 for 40. They're shooting a ton of shots that just need 6 to wound or mortals. So they can just tear through like a character. Like, oh, I'm at -1 to hit, so 6 to hit. Who cares? I'm shooting 81 shots. I can kill him with 5 mortal wounds. Done. He's dead. Like you don't need to worry about like I'm hitting on 5s or 4s with the +1 to hit command ability. Like they're just reliable because they have so many attacks to offset their bad hit rolls and wound rolls. But then like they're always wounding on 6s for mortals. And they just have a lot of reliable mortals. And then on the flip side, like things like Bastiladons, which Greg's list had 3 Bastiladons, they're super tough because unwounded, they have an unrendable 2-up save. So it's like they can tank a ton of wounds, and they have a decent number of shots that can just do a bunch of damage. So like they're just a very reliable option.
Yep.
That's my perspective that I've seen.
I don't know. I just it and you can also make a very like when it started when the book dropped, and I started building lists. I wanted to make like a very fast, hard hitting like Seraphon army with
Yeah. The cavalry heavy one, right?
It's the same kind of like consensus. Like they just have the ability to just pump out attacks and mortal wound outputs. If you can either do mortal wounds or just shit ton of like volume of rend attacks basically. And you know, they're not exactly the squishiest. Like I mean, the skinks are pretty squishy, but like there's a lot of them. They're cheap, and then like they definitely, you know, I still think Saurus Warriors are still not exactly where they need to be. But like it's fine. Like Temple Guards are phenomenal in my opinion, but they're, you know, I think they're also expensive. The game revolves around like the Seraphon list revolves around consistent, reliable shooting with some shenanigan flanking units, basically. And then Bastiladons to carry the day until they basically, Games Workshop says, whoa, we decided that is not actually unrentable now. General Handbook 3.0.
That's like, that brings us to another topic though. Like General's Handbook. Okay, well, in a perfect world, General's Handbook would generally come out like late June, mid-July. We don't know when the fuck it's coming out. Fuck, we don't even know when our Lumineth. I was about to call
Moon elves.
Cow Rock
or Moo elves or cow elves.
Battle Cow.
We don't know when the Battle Bison are gonna fucking come out. So,
man,
what?
I haven't thought of the last Airbender elves. Fuck.
I don't get it.
Flying Bison.
I've never watched Avatar. The last
You should.
I should.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. Watch it.
Okay.
He has a flying bison anyway, and it doesn't matter. Keep going.
No. I mean, like, hey, cool. Like, I'll check it out then. But yeah, like we don't know what's going on. But it sounds like from the topic here at hand that there might be some changes that you guys would expect out of Seraphon, given the state of them.
There's going to be no point adjustment.
I'd be shocked if there was a point adjustment.
There is 1 point adjustment I foresee.
Not in the book. It won't be in the fact. It won't be in the
I don't know. Seraphon came out early enough that I could see it in the book, but that is Salamanders. Holy crap, Salamanders.
Oh, yes.
But we forgot to talk about reliability and just point efficiency. So Salamanders have this insane thing where they're 80 points for one Salamander. With 3 handlers, by the way. So he has 3 extra wounds he can just murder. And it's that one guy has 4 shots at 3s and 3s, rend 2 D3 damage. On top of that, on 6s to hit, he just does D3 mortal wounds flat, ignoring the rest. It's full stop, but it's just like he does his damage as mortals on 6s to hit.
Doesn't he have the skink keyword too, which is fucking?
He has.
Well, the skink keyword because of the unit. Okay, so what bugs me about this is AoS is like there are some units in the game in certain factions where it's like if the unit leader is alive, the unit leader has a certain keyword, no one else does.
No BR guys, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Or Nighthaunt, where it's like the unit leader at Chain Rasps is bravery 10, but if he's dead, they're bravery 6. Like Salamanders have the skink keyword, even though they're salamanders, and they have skink handlers. And then they all have the same bravery no matter what. And basically, the handlers are there for a blade of wounds, but they aren't there for any other purpose. Whereas, like, if they, I guarantee, if I were to pull up like the Warhammer fantasy rules for skink handlers, or for skinks and skink handlers, like if the handlers died, something bad would happen, and like the skinks would go. The salamanders.
Before skinks. Salamanders and skink handlers were 2 separate units, and the skink handlers like handled the salamanders to give them bonuses or rein them in or something. Now they're just 1 unit.
So now they have
3 extra wounds.
Each salamander has a blade. So a unit of 3 salamanders has 9 ablative wounds that they don't give a shit about. 7.
Yeah, it's a unit of 3 salamanders has 9 wounds. Yeah.
So that's wonderful. That's more wounds than a single salamander.
Honestly, the thing about salamanders that is the most frustrating, so their shooting profile is fantastic. The frustrating thing is their melee profile is just as good. Like instead of having 4 attacks at 3s and 3s, Ren 2 D3 damage, it's 3 attacks.
Well, being as ignorant as I am about Seraphon, we had a whole episode on the Battle Tome, and I remember we went in depth on salamanders. Like they are terrifying.
So if anything in the if there's anything in the GHB that I can see changing on points, it's salamanders. Because for 80 points getting per salamander, you get an insanely efficient shooting / melee unit. It has a 4-up save.
Yeah, the handlers are what take it over the top for sure.
It's a 7-wound unit.
Devil's advocate, though, Conflagration Zinch list, like, you have enough Exalted Flamers or normal Flamers, and they won't give a shit. They'll just shoot the salamanders off the table, right?
No.
How?
They have a 4-up save.
Sure. Fucking. Sure. I've had 20 goddamn Mortec Guard with 3-up armor save get nuked to like a 6-man unit of flamers.
Oh, so you're saying that for 240 points you get, what's that? 3 wounds on the salve, so 7 wounds, so 21 wounds for 240 points that in shooting can murder something. And so you're saying the Infernal Conflagration of Zinch can just throw them off the table. Oh, you killed 240 points worth of salamanders. There's still all the Distillodons and Skinks you need to worry about.
I totally forgot how many points is a unit of flamers.
It's 80 points for a salamander and 3 skinks. Just 7 wounds of a 4-up save.
Remember, you don't have to take them in units of 3s. Like, there's almost no reason to. Unless for like battalion fulfilling, you can just take them all as units of 1.
Yeah, right? Like, fuck it.
There's no need for. Like,
you don't give a shit about drops or battalions. Just take multiple units of 1. Fuck it all.
Like, aren't most of the abilities too like aura based? Like, they're not like specific. Like, I know the mortal wound one. It's like a unit. It's not.
We don't need mortal wounds for salamanders.
You don't need mortal wounds. No. Like, I think they should have made them instead of 1 to 1 to 4. I believe they should have been 4 to 8, like cost. Where like you actually have to take like, hey, you want to take this unit? You actually have to invest in like a unit of 4. For it, at least it would have been nice in points, and doesn't like you don't take the take advantage of like so you're not shooting actually at like this unit of 4, you're shooting at this one unit right here of 1, and
that's one of the weaknesses of a coalesced army of salamanders, that salamanders have a bravery of 5. So if you kill the 3 handlers, you can murder salamander easily with bravery. So, but it's not a problem when you just take a bunch of single-man units.
Yep.
So that's an interesting point you bring up, where you have to bring a unit of 4 salamanders, which is 16 models, because if people shoot them and they kill like 5 handlers, you could almost kill like half the unit. I mean, it's because like if you kill 10 models from the unit, that wipes out the rest of the unit when they only have bravery.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing that the next General's Handbook could do, is make salamanders have a larger minimum unit size. Make them less incentive to just bring like 1 to 2 salamanders.
Well, what if it was 3 to 6?
Well, the unit size is 4, so it'd have to be
4 to 8.
8 to
or 2, 4, 6, 8.
No, I think 3 is the lowest you're gonna go in that like on that combination basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those units like I don't like to reward lazy rules writing, and that one just feels like lazy rules writing.
And I don't know if you guys know that whenever I play salamanders, I swear it is rare for somebody to actually have the model. I have seen so many janky bad salamander conversions lately.
I shit you not. Last time I played against a guy with salamanders, he had them 3D printed. They were like Caltrans orange, and he didn't even paint them yet. They had like, and it was like the shitty 3D printer where like you could see the clear like striations.
The salamander model from Games Workshop is just old and ugly, like really old and ugly.
I mean, I prefer that than seeing striation marks out of a fucking cheap 3D printer.
Sure, but I mean, like, I would appreciate just like you take a Saurus Knight. You take a Saurus Knight mount and just like convert it to be a salamander. I'd be pretty happy.
So by a Saurus Knight mount, you mean a cold one?
Yeah,
yes.
Give it some
a little frill on them.
Give them a little frill. It'd be, but it is I'm sorry, Games Workshop, but that model needs to be updated. It's fucking ugly.
It is. It's a bad model. I mean, that is one of those
It's a very
really
old
bad
model.
models.
It is what, like 25 years old, 30 years old model, a 30-year-old sculpt, like easily.
But like maybe they
Had
did
talent
this
30 years ago,
like,
so
please buy this model. We need to get rid of this metal inventory or whatever they got, like Finecast inventory of fucking salamanders.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if anything in Seraphon I could see changing next General's Handbook, it would be salamanders, and then like maybe like Croak is seen in every single list. Period. Like Croak is so prevalent. Like it's one of the, he's just like, why would you? I've yet to see a Seraphon list without Croak, and so I think the next General's Handbook, it's just like if it's going to come this summer, the two things that I want to see is some point adjustments around Seraphon, and then figuring out what the fuck to do with hordes. Like those are the two things I want to see.
well, hopefully they do the old Warpseer treatment to Croak. Let's see him pointed out of uselessness.
Yo, I
Or the,
forgot about
Plague Monk.
Warp Seers. Oh,
Or
I
the Plague
forgot.
Monk treatment to salamanders.
Yeah, exactly.
So you think they could get fucked
Confused-
as hard as Skaven got fucked?
I would love to see it, but no, I don't think they will.
Well, Croak is as much as a Warpseer. Did you know that?
Now he is?
Yeah, he's 320, just like a Warpseer.
Yeah, exactly.
A Warp Seers 320 points?
He's been, yeah, had their price raised twice.
Wait, no, that's a Warp Spear on a belt, right?
No.
No, Warpseer is a Vermin Lord.
It's
Yeah,
the Vermin
Vermin
Lord.
Lord.
Oh,
They went from 260
Sorry.
to 280 to 320.
I was thinking Gray Seer. I was like, you didn't tell me that
Oh,
this
right.
tiny ass fucking model.
Right, can you imagine? Yeah, $300.
Yeah,
That Skitter Leap is the stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that 320 points is we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, right? Like 320
We're
points,
getting
like that's 20 points more than the new points for a Bloodthirster, Wrath of Khorne. Cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Awesome.
like that's terrible comparison.
Yeah, like 320 for a Warpseer. Neat. You have a level 2 wizard with 12 wounds and a 5-up stroke save. Neat.
Seems overcosted to me.
Oh, fuck off.
Seems overcosted.
So Garrett, I gotta ask you, this event that you're having right now, where can people find it one more time, and when does it start?
So it's on Best Coast Pairings, and it's going to start this Friday. Obviously, this podcast is recorded this Tuesday.
Garrett,
so,
just point to your shirt.
Yeah, right. It'll be on BCP. Look on various channels that people may be sharing it, and we'll be starting on Friday. Was it 12th? I think. Yeah, there's the missions that John has decided for me.
Because I guarantee you, it's not gonna be on the fucking packet. There's gonna be no packet.
I can't wait until you're like, hey, you want to see the missions with this weekend, guys? You're gonna have to listen to the podcast.
No, you have to watch the podcast.
So hopefully the podcast releases before the tournament starts. Yeah, what? It's a valid question. If you guys get it out by
Are you
Thursday,
starting on
the tournament
Thursday? Are you starting on Thursday?
if we get this out on Thursday.
Are you starting on Thursday? That's the question.
No,
Oh, tight.
I'll probably have the missions declared by Thursday evening.
I mean,
hopefully, if I'm
Let's be straight. We had some trouble last week. Alex got me the video recording at 12:30 at night on Thursday, and I had it posted at 7 a.m. on Friday.
yeah, and the
that's a
tournament
big
is going to
dick energy
start.
right there.
I'm going to have pairings generated by 9 or 10 p.m. East Coast time Thursday, so that people can start their games Friday morning.
Oh, that's gonna give them like zero. That'll give them like what? That'll give them maybe 6 hours too.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, Garrett, you could just take these missions right down and just add them to the description right now while we're on the air.
Or John, maybe you could write me a full packet with like
Hobby
all sorts
and
of house
pace.
rules, and
Okay,
I mean, this is what
okay.
you promised me last week.
I
You
did
said,
promise.
"Oh, yeah."
I did promise. And you know what? I'm actually working from home this week. They're teaching a class in my lab, so I'm like, I'm not going in while you got a bunch of students in there. So
So we might have a packet come tomorrow on a
yeah,
Wednesday.
you know what? I'm doing some simulation. I'm writing work instructions on a major defense project tomorrow, and right in between those work instructions, I'm going to slip in a packet for this. If I put in a screenshot and it looks like, I don't know, some kind of missile control system, I might have put the wrong screenshot into the wrong instructions. But
Just plain
we're on it,
missile
Garrett.
control and TTS.
Weird flex. I don't need to finish the
Just
rest.
plain missile
You're
control
right.
and
That's a
TTS.
weird
You guys are good to go.
So, do you guys need any peer review on this packet?
Sure, why not? As long as it's out by Thursday, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, Jeremy, will you sign off on it for me? Excellent. Because I know you're not going to be busy tomorrow during the day either. I got to go. We're going to you.
I'm gonna make like an impromptu like show up on like this weekend just at his event. Just be like, all right, well, here's the judge. I'm gonna make some ruling right now.
Remember, if you need a judge, you're DQ'd.
No, I'm serious. I'm going to put it in the packet that if they need a rules call, they message me, and I'll message them back. If I have to go, if one of us has to go into the TTS game, then somebody's getting disqualified.
Yeah.
But if it's a
Exactly.
rules question, we should be able to handle that actually.
Y'all
through
summon
messaging.
me. Y'all are fucked. Someone's going home.
That's right. It's the
Oh.
best. That, by the way, Garrett, may be the best TO ruling that comes. In fact, it's kind of the only TO ruling that came out of your previous event, but it still is one of the better ones I've ever heard.
If I need to go into the TTS game and make a ruling, someone's getting DQ'd. Yeah, that's it.
So for those of you guys who are interested, of course, in joining the, what are we going to call it? The
COVID round 3 weekend
Okay.
TDS tournament.
You guys can all find it on Best Coast Pairings. Do not ask for a rules judge because apparently you're going to have a bad time.
You can message me. You can message me.
Yeah, you message John.
I'll take care of that.
I like this
And-
good
and
cop,
the-
bad cop dynamic.
Yeah,
People
and
like-
the link, by the way, is on last week's episode. So if you watch last week's video, about this point in the video, the link will actually be going across the screen.
I kind of want people to just be like, well, I don't need a judging on the rule. I just need your impersonation on interpretation of the rule. Like I don't need a rules judge. I just need a rules interpretator.
That's where Jeremy comes in. Jeremy, you got to be available all weekend for that.
No, he's got house stuff and he's got to kick my ass in his dungeon. So like,
And be available for my TTS tournament.
I haven't hung out with someone who wasn't family in like almost 3 months. You'll be good. That being said, hey, you guys, I think that this might wrap things up for tonight. For everyone who's listening, if you guys want to see more, do go on our YouTube channel, The Wide World of Wargaming, as well as the our Podbean link. We're always on FLG's roll. If you guys want to express your concern with Garrett's lack of a packet, or if you guys have something that you want to see, do give us a shout out on Facebook, Twitter, or wherever you get your podcasts, as well as Podbean, Apple Podcasts, or wherever. This is going to be Alex, John, Jeremy, and Garrett signing off for the night. Have a good night.
Night, folks.
Night.